because there is a heater on not far from the mic, so I apologise, but it is absolutely freezing cold. So today I'm going to be chewing some extra mint extra white bubble mint gum. I'm going to pop a piece of this in, and as you can see, it was on the little table thing. We have the Dungeon Master's Guide. This is the brand new 2024 released Dungeon Master's Guide with the old cover, as you can see, which I have procured. And all we're going to do today is just flip through the book, take a little look at some of the artwork, just take a look at the inside. It's not a review. Inevitably there might be some opinions that come out. I've had this book for about, not sure how long it is now actually. I don't actually remember when it released, but I know a while. And yeah, I've read through some of it, not all of it probably, not sat down and read it, but you know, a lot of it's like similar information to the last one, so. But anyway, we're going to get this bad boy open, so let's look at the cover first. So here we go, the beautiful sort of glossed cover. I really am a fan of the way in which they've done these alt cover books. I think I've said in previous videos that from now on I think I'm probably just going to be getting like alt covers of the books, and I'm going to be trying to get every new release, because I still don't actually have every D&D book. There are still books that I don't have, believe it or not, because they are really expensive. But I have got this new DMG, which is very cool. As you can see, it's got a similar back design, or basically an identical back design and sort of spine design to the Player's Handbook. But this one's more of a, I guess, like a brass maybe colour, copper maybe, I'm not really sure. And at the very front we've got the front cover, which is an image of Lolth embedding someone. And we flip open the book, very similar to the last time. We've got this sort of bit of artwork here of some siege weapons fighting a black dragon, it would seem. So as we open up, we've got the very front page, an old wizard's tower, it looks like, coming out of the book. And then we've got the contents page, and the reason I'm holding it up is just to show you this, which of course is the standard cover of the DMG. I'm very glad I got the old covers, I can't lie, I'm a big fan of them. So, yeah. Alright, so we've got the contents page here. It's all on one sheet, I believe. Yeah. We've got things from just the basics of GMing, stuff about running the game, and you know, how to implement some of the rules. The DM's toolbox, which is just stuff for the DM, creating adventures, and then campaigns. A little bit about the Greyhawk setting, which is technically under the creating a campaign because it's given us an example of like world building. Stuff about cosmology, not a big chunk of that. Big bulk of the book is about the treasure, which of course is very relevant. A bit about Bastions, which is a new system introduced into the DMG, which wasn't universal. Not universal. And Arcana. And then some other things on it. We've got another glossary in this book. If you remember from the Player's Handbook, there was a rules glossary. This one has a law glossary, which is okay. I mean, it's cool that they included that, but I mean, you know, it's alright. Then we've got stuff about maps, which are okay, and the sheets. They're not coloured maps, unfortunately, but you know, what can you expect? So we're just flipping through, looking through the book. We're not going to be like sat reading through things here. Again, this is just like a flip through, not a an actual first impressions or anything. I do want to do one of those, but I don't really know when I'm going to do that. So I've got a nice bit of a map here with a game table set up now. It's a cool looking situation. Zuctamoy, the demon princess, or demon queen, I guess, as she's been referred to here, of fungus and fungi. Got a bit of artwork here. Guessing that's artwork for this situation. So again, in this book they've given like examples of play, which is pretty good. I like the idea of them putting in situations, like describing how it works in a game. I think that's very useful for new games. A bit about house rules here. Yeah, this is all about. Oh, here's one of the first level handouts it gives. Yeah, just a little bit about preparing for a game in terms of like setting up the rules, talking about session zeros and stuff, which is nice to see in this actual book because it was brought into Tasha's and it's been expanded upon in this. Pretty cool bit of artwork here. A bit of Tiamat action going on. And you might notice some of these are characters from the Player's Handbook artwork for the different subclasses. I like the fact that they've like created these characters for the different subclasses and classes in the handbook, and then interchangeably use them in the books. I think that's really fun and really cool. You know, we're gonna have a lot of fun when the monster manual comes out because that's gonna be like a bit of art nearly enough every page. So we'll have to do some more videos with that. Climbing a wall where different, well, I guess it's just showing different artwork, and now we're getting into a bit more about using the rules. I do love the artwork. I love books including a lot of artwork because it just makes them more pleasant to read. But, you know, I get that it takes up a lot of space. Also, the text in these books, I didn't realise until I was reading back some of the older books, but the text is so much bigger in these, which is good for people that, you know, their text was a bit too small, but at the same time, like, the fact that it's bigger is a bit more of like a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a bit cheeky, you know, like, I can't think of the right word I'm looking for, but basically, it's not quite what you think, right? Because actually, there's, I wonder if that's like a reference to Drizzt and the heroes of the, what was it called, the Hall of Companions, or the Heroes of the Hall, or something like that, the group of heroes with Drizzt O'Down. I mean, just because I see a person that looks like it would be a dwarf there with a hammer and a shield that looks similar, and then, I mean, I could be wrong actually, but I guess there's no pattern to this, so maybe not. Nice bit of artwork there. This will be your kind of like opportunity to, oh, here's a bit of travel planning, which is probably a good one to have. I love like picturesque scenes like this as the artwork. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like this will be an opportunity for you to see if you want to get this book. There was actually something I wanted to check here, because in the Player's Handbook it talks about travel base and travelling, but what it doesn't mention is about going over your travel journey. But yeah, is it extended travel when they push themselves more than 8 hours a day? They make, at the end of each additional hour of travel beyond 8 hours, they must succeed in a con saving throw or gain 1 exhaustion. The DC is 10 plus 1 for each hour past 8. I wondered if they were going to include that. I was hoping that it would be in the book. I haven't got around to the travel, but I probably should read this because it's about to come up in a game. But they've redone the travel from what I can tell. Like they've put more effort into the travel section, because beforehand it was quite lackluster, if I recall. And they've given new travel pacing for types of terrain, which is nice. Even like navigation, foraging and searching in the terrain, which is really cool. I think adding more effort to journeying and travelling is worth it, because it makes that travel portion of an adventure feel better, because too often is it just like from point A to point B. I actually have a group who teleport quite often, and I want to like lean more into making them travel long distances and adding things along the way, even if it's like weeks of travelling, giving them opportunities and making it exciting is good. So I'm going to probably read through this after this video. Another bit of artwork. Travelling through the mountains. Oaks going through a mountain pass. Getting into combat stuff now, just some advice for GMs. Talking about miniatures, line of sight. Talking about cover. Which is good. Yeah, this is talking about cover here, which is good to know how that works. I like artwork of the dragons. That's some of my favourite stuff. Oh, narration in combat is pretty cool. Lots of hit points. Probably worth looking into this. Just to, you know, even though I run a lot of games, and this is basically my job. I mean, I say basically, it literally is. And I do this every day. It's always good to be able to like read through and like refresh, or like be open to taking new suggestions and new insights. That's how you get better. Now, one thing I want to say is, in the original DMG, there was an entire chapter to optional rules, and a lot of people were saying like one of the things they noticed before the book came out was when the contents page was leaked, or not really leaked but like put out, there was no variant rules section, which is true, but the variant rules are still in here, or at least many of them are in the book, but they're like part of the section that they refer to. So for example here, there's a variant rule here, but in the levelling up section about training to gain levels, there's a variant rule later on about dice rolls, and like it will literally say like variant and then give you the variant rule about for dice rolling and D20 tests. The variant rule is like succeeding on everything with a natural 20, which wasn't actually in the DMG. This is the first time it's actually been printed into the 5e books. Can't really recall on the other ones, but anyway, that aside, the other one is like degrees of success, but the variant rules, what I'm trying to say, are in here. Other things, I don't think madness or sanity are in here. There are a lot of optional rules that didn't make it in, which is a shame, but I wonder, like personally, I think those optional rules are better suited to a book that's more dedicated to them, like a redo of a horror book like the Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, doing more about horror and like adding that in. I think the sanity system, honour system would be better suited to a book that is designed around it, but that's just me. Anyway, yeah, so some stuff there, nice bit of artwork here. City of Towers in the Wild of Eberron, very cool. Blob of Annihilation. I would love to do an Eberron book, or an Eberron adventure. I do have the book. I'm getting into the DM's toolbox now, so it's just more stuff about things for the GM, stuff about chases, for example. Some shit battles here. The sound of that, this actually comes, where does this come from? I feel like this comes from Dragonized. Maybe I'm wrong, I actually don't know which book this comes from. this to have been expanded on. Yeah. Just some tips on making curses. Got a bit of something going on there. Demonic possession curse. Death on the River Styx. Very cool artwork there. Stuff about dungeons, whole section to do with doors, which is fair. Doors are very relevant. A set of ruins up here. States of ruin, which is really cool. Lots of dungeon dressing stuff. They don't have, I don't believe, quite as much as they used to in the other book, which had a full ability to. Oh no, there's stresses here. But only very briefly. Yeah, it's very, very brief. This is it compared to like the multiple ones, but I guess they yeah, I guess they've I'll have to look into that more because it's saying about different effects. But these are things from the old book. Maybe that will what's this? Different effect is a long lasting term. Oh, I see. So these are just like giving you, so that I guess they're different than what they used to be. Very much so, but fair enough. Yeah, some of these are a little bit light, which is a shame, but you know, we've got a dwarf shooting a shotgun there on a troll, which is quite funny. And of course the firearms making their return. Explosives as well. Do they have a Molotov cocktail? No, they don't, which is such a shame. They should have put a Molotov cocktail on there because the amount of times I've had players ask me if they can make a Molotov cocktail is crazy. Like, genuinely. Oh, some green slime. Got a bit about acids here. Some other puzzles, I guess. Threats, which is pretty cool. Some web traps. Yeah, I'm glad that they include stuff like this because they need to add it. They need to add more assets in and things you can use these and build your own. But like, yeah, I think this book mostly is for like, here's a few examples. Here's how to build your own as well, which is probably what it should be. Got some stuff about rewards. Obviously, I'll go into more of it if I do more of a deep dive and actual chat about the book. God, we're not quite far out. We're already 20 minutes in. That's crazy. Stuff about mob creatures, a fire giant, lizard. Talking about names. Honestly, this Anathar's book has far more at the back. It's probably more worth that. Now this is an old book, or an old bit of artwork. Lots of stuff for like the D&D TV show or cartoon. Poisons, which is pretty cool. Stuff about renown. Things about settlements, building settlements. A few random tables. I do like the random tables. A bit about siege equipment, although like, do you know what I mean? It's a little bit light on content. Like, here's how you design a settlement. You know what I mean? Compared to, let's look in here. Maybe this isn't really that much bigger. quite similar. Yeah, it's actually not that. I thought it was more in this, so I guess there you go. Maybe it's not that much different. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, to be honest. But yeah, I feel like it should probably have a little bit more in this. Yeah, it's definitely not quite as much. Supernatural gifts and charms, all that fun stuff. A bit about traps, some example traps. Quite a lot of them here actually, which is fair. We've got a bit about creating adventures, a bit of artwork here. Kind of skip past that one, but there you go. Trap going off. And then getting into adventures, so these are the bits that I do quite like. If I'm like, oh, what do I want to happen here? I can just roll and make something from that. And divide it up into different tiers of play, which is good. Different kinds of hooks. There's a lot about designing adventures here. So I think this book could have been a bit thicker, with more stuff about, you know, designing dungeons, more content for designing dungeons and settlements, probably. I think it could have been better, but you know, the content that is in here, I would say, is fairly decent. Bits of art there. When we get to the magical items, it's going to be thick, so probably should give a good push. Few kobolds there, and throwing a barricade, it seems. Ooh, and mysterious lights. It's all about random encounters and stuff, a battle going on. The whole section was about making adventures, and from the beginning to the end. And these are like short adventures. The point of these is to say, like, you don't need to have like a campaign module that you write yourself to make an adventure. You can literally have this text and run perfectly good adventure by improvising, because these are like the fundamental basics you need to know and have prepared, and then from there, boom, you just go. And obviously a map if you're using that. There we go. Some of these are a little bit longer, obviously, like that's two bits there. But like the boreal ball, boom, that's it. Then we've got creating campaigns. Bit of a spelljammer stuff going on here. The Nautilid. Another journal entry thing. And a second one here. Stuff to track the characters. That's a cool bit of artwork. See on the back of a fortress on the back of a dragon turtle. This is just about designing adventures or campaigns based on different settings, different themes, different playstyles. Stuff about session zeros, planning the adventures, getting them to meet, getting them invested. A little bit of Dragon Lord's artwork there. And then we get into the example, a bit of world building for the Grey Hawk setting. Tiamat rocking up, doing some damage. This is interesting because it gives you a bit of an insight to what the new dragons will look like. Like there's the blue dragon, there's the white dragon. You can see that the artwork for them is a little bit different. So we're getting an insight of what the new dragons are likely to look like. I mean, we've already seen a couple of them. The copper dragon, for example, and the golden dragon look very different. The copper dragon, I believe it's the copper dragon, it looks like it's got wings, and we saw that much earlier on during the travel section. I believe it was. See if we can quickly get back there. I'm not sure if there is. Like, it looks a bit more like butterfly wings. Pretty sure that's the copper dragon. But yeah, they're getting new stuff going on. So we just got stuff about the campaign setting here. White Blue Mountain. Very nice bit of artwork there. Grey Hawk art. City of Grey Hawk map. This is the first this area. The Lady of Pain. There we go, there she is. Appears without warning the bustling streets of Sigil, or Sigil, or however they say it. Sigil. I think they've pronounced it about a million different ways in the various bits of artwork. Then we've got stuff about the cosmology here, which is pretty cool. I like the rendition of the cosmology here. I think his artwork is pretty cool to see that. The only thing that would be better is if they had like the symbols for each of the planes. That would be cool. Oh, my back. We've got a bit of a portal there on the rock tree. Oh, look at that. Look at that, a fully webbed up space. This looks like it would be limbo. Maybe it's not. Spell jamming. Wasp ship approaches the Githyanki city of Tunalath. Interesting. Do the Githyanki use wasp ships? Maybe so. And then we've got stuff about all the different planes, obviously, here. Just cool. Some information about them. Some plot threads. In some cases. Or adventures. Which is what I always like to see. And then maybe there'll be more of that sort of thing in the Sword Coast book, which is set to come out next year. At some point, whenever that will be. Which, you know, maybe will not be written by AI, but based on what their CEO of Hasbro has said, they want to make it happen. So we'll see, eh? Oh. This, I'm gonna just quickly turn that heater up because it is very cold and it doesn't seem to be heating up much. There we go. Lots of lovely artwork here. You can see like the lightning train from Eberron. That's Celestial Relief. Yeah. Oh, Avernus. Look at that. Very cool. Asmodeus. There we go. Oh, where are they? Pandemonium. Makes sense. Yeah, having some like adventures based in these regions is pretty cool. They've also included the positive and negative plane. I can't remember if that was in the original handbook or not. Or DMG. But it's very rarely ever talked about. And then a beautiful bit of artwork of a dragon. A black dragon specifically. And then we get into things like rewards, and now we're in magical items, talking about that. Lots of things here, tracker for the magical items. Reading a little magical book. And here we go, going through all of the stuff. Now we're getting into the items rules, there's going to be a lot of artwork here. So we'll just have to like skim through the pages, I think, because otherwise we'll be here all year. So I won't talk about all of them. I'm just going to like flip through. That's the adamantine armor, by the way. Adamantine armor is now considered a magical item. So some of these will be familiar if you're familiar with D&D and the magical items. Some of them will be new bits of artwork for new items. Some will be new artwork for items that never had any artwork, and some will be new artwork for items with existing artwork beforehand, which has been updated. Sending Stones is a good example of that, but there's a lot of reused artwork. Bag of devouring. Black Razor, which is an artifact. Book of Vile Darkness. And the Book of Exalted Deeds. Two opposing books there. Lots of boots and braces here. And a brazier. Sensor of controlling air elementals is interesting. interesting. Charlatan's nice. Cauldron of Rebirth. Cloak of Many Fashions is very cool. Nice to see more cloaks brought into the game. Cloak of Billowing, wow, that's it's funny seeing the common items in here, because obviously in the original DMG there were no common items. It was Xanathars, I believe, that brought that into being, but seeing actual artwork for them as well is quite cool. Like, Cloak of Billowing there doesn't really do anything though, so some people will be like, that's wasted space, but, you know, it's fine, I think, personally. Things like the cube of etc. I think are cool. I never use them though. Deck many things, of course. Temptation to throw that into an adventure is very hard to resist. The Demonicon of Igwilf, which is Tasha, I believe. It's Tasha's real name. There's some cool items here. Different gems, different armour. Hank's bone is from a bow. Hank's bone, well, from the cartoon. Ever smoking bottle is quite cool. A lot of the potions have been given new things or updated. Eye and Hand of Vecna is very fun. What does the Hand of Vecna count as? Wondrous items. I didn't know if it counted as like a wand. Yeah, these are interesting things. All the little figurines there, different ones. They didn't used to include the different statues, I don't believe. Gem of Brightness. Again, some of these will be familiar. Wizardry. Very funny. Different horns and stuff like that. Different stones, iron stones, which provide different abilities, which is very cool. Different instruments of the bards, which is cool. Lantern of Revealing. I need to sit down and read through these again just to see what stuff is in here, because there are new items. Medallion of Thoughts. The Mariner's armor. Moontouch sword. Orb of Dragonkind. This is an artifact. I wonder what that does. That's a lot of things. Oh wow, you can call dragons, do you? Pipe of Smoke Monsters is always quite funny. I like using those. I get that as a reward quite often in Lost Mine of Fendelphi, just at the end. I'm like, I think that'll be a funny one, because there's a wizard in the very end, and like a stash, I like to put one in the Potion of Climbing. Potion of Fire Breath. I like seeing the artwork for the potions. I feel like they were slept on so bad. Potion of Invisibility. There's just nothing in there. why they changed that. I thought it was fine, but I guess maybe because DMs might say, well, you can't use that because you've... I don't know why they would say that, because it's not like you can attune to 5 different rings. Oh, ring of resistance is attunement, interestingly. I guess not all of them are. Ring of 3 wishes. Fun stuff, that. Lots of robes there. Old artwork. Scroll of protection. Got some new scrolls, I believe. And this is the new sending stones. Shields. Spell scrolls. And this tells you a little bit more about the spell scrolls, what the DC and the attack bonus is for each one. I wonder if this says exactly how it works. Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at this. Oh my god, they got rid of it. Oh, that is a shame. Also, they've kept copying the spell, scrolling to a spell book requires an arcana check, otherwise the scroll's destroyed and you can't copy the spell. I never use that, I just think that's kind of a bit BS. Personally, I never use that. They got rid of the scroll mishap. I don't remember, maybe it was a variant rule, but because the potion mishap is actually in here. But there was a rule that if you fail, so basically the way in which spell scrolls work is that, as written, you can only use a spell scroll if the spell is on your spell list, and you can obviously cast spells, meaning that, for example, if you were a barbarian, you would never be able to use a spell scroll unless you had something that gave you spells, and it was on that spell list. Which is unlikely, but in addition to that, if you were to cast the spell at a level beyond the slots you could use, so if you could only use up to 3rd level slots and the scroll was a 7th level spell, they would, and you would have to make an arcana check, or you have to make an ability check based on your spellcasting ability, which is equal to 10 plus the spell's level, so in that case you'd be at 17. And if you failed, you would roll on the scroll mishap table. This actually happened to a player of mine who they could only cast up to, I think it was level 4 or 5 at the time. They found a scroll of disintegration in a wizard's tower that they were infiltrating, and I put it there for 2 reasons. One, because I thought, oh, they might try to use it now, because it would be one option, a very dangerous option, to get down a force field wall that they needed to get through. The second reason was I thought the wizard would take it so they could learn it later on. No, they went into this hallway. He used the scroll, absolutely butchered the save, and when he of the check, meaning it failed and there was a mishap. So when he cast the spell, I rolled on the mishap table, and the mishap that it was the scroll targets a random point, and so I had him roll a dice, and it turned out that it was on himself, and so he cast Disintegrate on himself, and at that point it would have just killed him outright. However, fortunately for him, that hallway was lined with runes, one of which was a counter spell, so that if a person other than him, than the wizard that lived there, cast a spell, it would trigger a counter spell. spell. Unfortunately, it countered the disintegration by the skin of his teeth, and he barely survived. And from that moment on, it was like, I'm never using scrolls again, out of my level. So there was a mishap table, they've got rid of it. I don't know why they would do that. It was so fun. Even if it's a variant rule. Oh well, maybe it is in there and I've missed it. But I will continue to use that because it's fun. Anyway, my point being, I think they should have changed the way scrolls work. I think limiting it to people that can cast spells sucks. And it stops people outside of that getting the chance to use spells. The way in which I've had it work is that scrolls from cantrips up to level 3 anyone can cast, as long as they have the scroll. So a barbarian can cast Fireball if they have a scroll of Fireball, and it uses the scroll attack DC, attack bonus and save DC, but anything of 4th and higher can only be used by someone who has that spell on their spell list, which means there's no chance of the scroll mishapping from levels like level 0, which is a cantrip, all the way up to level 3. You can't fail using the scroll, but anything higher than that has a chance of failing if you aren't of a level to cast it, and it isn't. It just will have a chance to fail if it's not at a level that you can cast. But you can only use scrolls of a level, scrolls that are of a spell in your spell list from level 4 and above. That way, it means the people that aren't spellcasters get to use spell scrolls and use them, because ultimately, like, what's the point in having like the DC and the attack bonus on a scroll if someone who's using it already has those, already has an attack bonus and a save for their spells. So personally, like, I mean, I get why, because you're not using a resource, but at the same time, like, I personally just think, just let other people use scrolls, it's more fun. The barbarian whacking out Revivify because the cleric died and using it and succeeding is kind of cool, So, anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I guess that's just my thought on that personally. I went on a little bit of a ramble on that, but that's because I love spell scrolls, and I recommend doing that for your game at level 0 to 3. Don't limit it for them. Level 4 and above, that's when the spells start getting serious, in my opinion. The 3rd level spells is like the limit of that. But I mean, you could lower that or mix it around as you want, but that's just what I personally feel. Alright, we get a bit more Sphere of Annihilation, which is basically just a black hole. Yeah, it's just a black hole basically, which is very cool. Got basically a Ouija board here. Different stuffs. There's all the flowers there. Other cool ones. Where's the Staff of Power? Surely they've put that in here. There it is. Sunblade. It's pretty cool. Lots of different weapons. I love the tomes. I feel like the tomes get slept on all the time. More wands. Lots of wands here. Did they include the wand of smiles? That's the question. I'm surprised they didn't include wand of smiles in here, if I'm honest. That tends to be an actual useful one, like a common item, but there you go. And then we've got random magic items. Now I really love how they've laid this out. They've changed the item tables from like collections of items to based on their type, so arcana items, and then listed from, you know, different rarities, to armaments, to implements, to relics. I think that's it, yeah. I love that they've laid it out that way, because sometimes I'm like, I want something that's like a bit of armour or something like that. Let me roll on the table to find it, and sometimes it's fun to do that. Like, if I don't want to go through just random tables that are, because it used to be like from A to G or something like that, different magic item tables based on different tiers of play. I think this is a better way of doing it, because there's a secondary table, it's either later on or earlier on. Yeah, it'll be earlier on. That is determining how many of each of these types you get in each. Like if you were to do like a random horde, how many common items, how many uncommon items, and then you can determine, oh, I want them to be rare, I want them to be relics, or I want them to be implements. Anyway, I'm not meant to be doing a breakdown here, but I've got into it now. Let's continue on. So now we're on the Bastions, which is the new system. I love the artwork in the Bastions. Like, this is a wizard building their bastion on the coast, which is very cool. I love that art. Like a little guild hall here in a rainy town. I just absolutely love the Bastion stuff. Like, I know that it's not super in depth. I know it's not the Stronghold book, which I've seen a lot of criticism. Like, I was very like half-assed. Ultimately, it's just another system to engage in that you can expand upon if you want to give different facilities additional functions. Go ahead, right? You can do that. But for me, they are a way of like engaging with something the players can like build in the world, and that's not for me. I think this is my favourite art piece of art in the book, because it's just like the progression of the Bastion, but not only the Bastion, but like if you start noticing like town being built behind it as they progress, like people moving around them, which I think is very fun. And then there's a lot of just like stuff about the systems, a bit of artwork here and there. This is a pretty cool one, it's an observatory. And near the end of the book now. Got a carnival going on, it seems. A festival. Yeah, and then you've got Bastion events, which is going to be fun. The game I'm running today, we're just setting up the Bastions, and we're doing the downtime activity stuff. And as part of that, I'm going to be having the players do their first like proper Bastion actions, and I'm gonna make them do a Bastion event so that we can like kick things off. And then we've got like the fall of a Bastion tracker, and then we get into the lore glossary. So the lore glossary is basically talking about things from the lore of D&D. Not everything is in here, obviously. There's quite a lot in here, in all fairness. But common things that might come up, things that you would not expect to be in here are in here. Like there's just Boo. Who is Boo? Boo being the miniature giant space hamster. Castle Ravenloft, the company, the Companions of the Hall. That was the group I was thinking of, which is including Drizzt. Just lots of stuff. Like for example, it doesn't go through all of the gods, but it goes through ones that come up quite often, I guess. Which is interesting. I guess these are things like common questions that people have. Like, oh, who are those people? Oh, what are these? Like, what is this thing? What is this? What's that? You can kind of glance here and see if there's information on them. Just to get just like a basic information without having to go and search online, I guess. Which is fine. But yeah, I guess the sort of like glossaries is something they're going to be doing more also in the future for other books. Like I can imagine there being like a lore glossary for the Sword Coast book. And I swear that better be a damn thick, chunky bad boy, because I need a good Sword Coast book. I'm not living with that tiny shitty one anymore. I need a good one. And it better be good. Oh, and then we end off the book with a bit of map stuff, black and white maps. They're okay. It's really, honestly, I find these maps really jarring because like there's green colour in it, but nothing else is coloured. I don't understand the need to put black and white maps in like this. Like, I guess it's like the classic dungeon design, but when you put a little bit more effort into the design, you might as well just add colour, because at the end of the day, that's how these are going to be used. They're going to be used for VTTs. Like, they should know now that a lot of D&D takes place online. Not all of it, okay, in all fairness, but there is a lot. And so, including VTT friendly or print friendly options that have, coloured versions just makes sense, because honestly I don't know a lot of people that draw the maps out anymore. A lot of people print out maps or use or like have a TV in their table, or just use online. Like, so many people now, I know this sounds weird for those that maybe don't use it, but so many people actually will play with laptops. They will use something like Roll20, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds in person, where the map is in person but they're still playing. Sorry, the map is online on a VTT, but they're playing in person because it's more like visible, it's more like visceral to experience, because you're still seeing the map. You can place your tokens around. There's more ease with managing things, while simultaneously still getting to play in person. And then we just have the index here, of course, and end off with the same sort of inner page cover. And there we go, that's the back cover of the book once again. And that is the Dungeon Master's Guide. So thank you very much for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's nearly an hour long this, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you want me to talk about the book a bit more, feel free to drop a comment and let me know. But that will bring us to the end of the video, so make sure to drop a like if you did enjoy. Consider subscribing, pressing the bell icon, that sort of thing. And of course, go check out the videos appearing on the side of the screen over there, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.